have ever seen in SI. This point, when we reach it in phase 2, where you get a whole bunch of teams, it's usually 6 or 8. That depends on if it's the major and it's Swiss, and it kind of switches up a bit. But at SI, it's usually 8 in one day, and it's always a wild day. But I think today has been the craziest without a doubt. And this one, honestly, you look at it on paper and you say DarkZero should be winning this. In reality,
the paper's thrown out the window.
But this game's not played on paper, Jake. You know, we're going to be in the server. It's already played out once as this matchup in phase 1. 5 days ago, DarkZero won 2-1. But it was not an easy win. And guess what? We played Border on that day. And guess what? It was 8-7. It needed to go all the way to overtime for DarkZero to win it.
Yeah, it's interesting. You kind of brought up, of course, one of VP, FaZe go home over on the B stream right now, and of course, one of DarkZero and Falcons. Well, the winners will then play each other tomorrow. So it doesn't get any easier in terms of the matchups. And for Falcons, it's a matter of, you know, we had the pleasure of watching them against W7M. I still feel like there's room for improvement. They got the win there against the Montreal major champions, adding to that list of massive teams that have been sent home, which means for DarkZero, there is no plot armor for them. Nope. You know, they're a big team with some really big names. They too have been quite inconsistent at this tournament, but if they do play at their best, I look at this matchup and I think if you win Border, DarkZero and Cafe should be almost a lock. It's going to then be very difficult for Falcons. On the flip side of that, though, Tim, when you're looking at the maps, Bank is the decider. That is an undefeated map for Falcons. That is a very good map for Falcons. And so while Border is not necessarily like a gimme map for Falcons, if they do win it, suddenly I think the perspective on this series will change heavily, because Bank will be necessary for DarkZero to then get the series win as we head into this game. DarkZero defending first up on Border, the map pick of Team Falcons, after, of course, they just beat W7M. Of course, for DarkZero, knocked down to the lower bracket by Fury.
One way or another, the one thing that I do know is that one of these two teams will be going home by the end of the day. It is as simple as that. DarkZero will kick us off on the defense of Border. We've had our bans. Monty, Blackbeard, Valkyrie, Smoke. Nothing too wild there. Smoke probably being the most unusual out of the 4. You're looking to give yourself a little bit more freedom when it comes to planting, give yourself a little bit more room, and a little bit more time, if nothing else. But we're going to see the Clash brought along. We've seen a lot of Clash play over the last few days, and it's no surprise. We've seen that shield use extremely well, and NJR playing out on East Stairs with the Clash makes a lot of sense. It's a key area. As I always say on Border, you want to fight them at the boundary, stop them getting inside of the map, and one of the big ingress points, one of the big entries is to get in East Stairs and start building from there. So putting the Clash there is a real statement coming out of DarkZero.
Unfortunately, I do have to highlight Robbie again, who was spoken a lot about in that previous matchup. He finds himself second last overall at Six Invitational for entries at a -14. The only player is Rek from Scars, of course no longer at the tournament, with a -15. And then third last is Yoga with a -11. Robbie's kind of in his own little category right now, especially for teams still at the tournament. And really, I want to see the best of Robbie, the Robbie from Montreal. And if Falcons are to progress here against DarkZero, they will desperately need him. It cannot just be down to JLad and Dov. They've been tremendous, and arguably those were the two reasons, those two players, why they beat W7M. As we head into this one now, the Clash involved over towards top East Stairs.
And right now, they've been able to isolate the Clash here with the Capitao, but they haven't really pushed forward in any great numbers. However, Robbie did move underneath and manages to get a brilliant... Honestly, Falcons have cleared that beautifully, Xenox. Absolutely beautifully. We'll break it down a little bit more as the round is over, but Dovahkiin, Jalad, get it done. A huge opener from Falcons. So Falcons, as I suggested, wanted to go into East Stairs. That was their entry point. That was their go point. And what they've had is they've had the Capitao fire off long corridor so that NJR is completely isolated at that point, cannot move away from East Stairs, and then they've pushed above with the Blitz, they've pushed below with Robbie. NJR could do absolutely nothing, cut down, and whilst then his team are scrambling, trying to provide some sort of support, trying to do something, they're just getting cut down by Falcons one after another. Absolutely great opener from them. We spoke about how important a good border would be for Falcons because, let's be honest, when they played Cafe against BDS, it was a pretty poor showing. 2-7 they lost that one, so they can't rely on that second map. They're probably going to struggle a little bit, although saying that, I looked back at the map, and the problem that they had was defense. It was 6-0 in the defensive half to BDS. Sorry, Falcons couldn't attack. They just could not break down that BDS defense. However, we've spoken about these attacking stats today, and against W7M, it mattered very little. They went into Skyscraper, which was a map they were poor at attacking, and they did a lot better at it. So, DarkZero, you might not want to rely too heavily on that Cafe either. And a good border is going to be really important.
It's a good start for Falcons, but it is just a start. A flawless one at that. And it's already that immediate wake-up call for a team like DarkZero that there are not going to be any easy rounds against a team like Falcons. And for the uninitiated, I mean, this is a Falcons roster that were very close to making top 4 at the most recent major in Montreal. They're a high-quality roster.
Interestingly here, DarkZero have largely given over top floor. There's only one player up there. Bolo. Bolo's going to go for a big run out there. Manages to pick up guards, but gets traded by Robbie. And that's important in the shape of the round because it means Pamba has rotated upstairs, as has NGR, but it's starting to leave DarkZero with gaps. They can now, Falcons, get into CCTV if they want. They can pressure NJR on east stairs from there. So it starts to give them that toehold. Really important start for them there to get Bolo taken down. It's not ideal that they've lost the blitz, of course. Would have been great for clearing the rest of the top floor, but this is still workable for Falcons.
It certainly is, but you're right. I think losing the blitz is not ideal for Falcons. There's an opportunity as Kobe presents through the breach in the wall. Jalad spots him very easily.
So now it creates a problem. DarkZero have got 2 above and 1 on site, so they're going to have to drop 1 down or defend from above. The diffuser's going down. Did they have any idea? Yes, they did. Nif just gives it the old heave-ho, sends in the nitro, and takes him down.
Well, that's a wonderful response, and Naif gets more as well. The nitro stops the plant, then he is able to pivot and find a wonderful kill, and might even get another one as Jalad wants to tangle with him as well. Still a minute in this round though, Tim. There's lots of time, and yet right now, Jalad is just getting shot apart without even realizing from where. Does have the diffuser, but does he have the time and space to get this down safely, especially now with DarkZero regaining their position up above, which they did not have before. Naif has found another kill, eventually loses his life to Jalad, who now knows there's one above, but through the doorway, Bambazu makes his entrance, and DarkZero get themselves around.
Naif's had a critical round there. Absolutely brilliant from him, because otherwise DarkZero lose that, I'm almost certain of it. The diffuser was about a second away from going down, and what Falcons had done, once they get that kill from ventilation window, they recognize Kobe's gone, and they've only got 1 player left on site with 2 up above, but they know that the 2 up above, most likely, I think they know, that they are deep. They're out in office and east stairs, so they're not going to be able to defend on the verticals, and it's going to be difficult for them to get back in time. So it was a great decision, I think, from Falcons to go in and try and put that diffuser down. They have the space to do it, but Naif steps up, bottom metal, sends in the nitro, absolutely beautiful stuff, and then just goes on a bit of a spree, manages to find himself 3 before they take him out. He was the sole player inside of sight. Falcons pushed site knowing that. It wasn't quite inside of sight, but within touching distance, and he held on brilliantly.
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant round from Naif. If he doesn't hit that nitro cell, when you think about Bent Workshop, it's very difficult to play that retake.
You're just gonna sit on the window.
Yeah, you just sit on that window, and they would have had plenty of players still left alive. Yeah, so I think that that's a pretty much a round-saving nitro cell from him, and gets DarkZero the round as well. Huge point early on in this map. And the beauty of these games, of course, as we kind of look to close out day 2 of the playoffs, is there are no bad games, and these games do matter greatly. You win, you move forward, you lose, you go home. There's no time for errors or mistakes. And these are the big moments that get rewarded. 3rd round, Robbie's already taken a bit of damage. I'm playing the 0 here, and of course he can get a little bit more information for Falcons here on the attack. He's not the only piece of the puzzle, Robbie, but he does feel like a missing piece so far. Once again, it's Jalan and Dov that have started well. The key pieces of Falcons that have been playing well throughout Six Invitational. And 5 drones have been shot out. So a good start here defensively for DarkZero. Bolo over towards security. Just drone hunting right now. There's only 4 left.
The cams of Zero should be able to reduce the impact of losing those drones. You got a ton of intel potential from him moving in. Robbie's going to get himself into East Stairs, but the battle continues underneath as guards on that book is just chasing Bolo around at this point. He's trying to find the kill onto him to free up CCTV. Hasham manages to find Pamba. Guards does get his man in Bolo, and it's starting to fall apart again for DarkZero on this top floor. Robbie's got into the top of East, so he can start controlling everywhere from above. Kobe doing what he can to fight back, but this is going to be tough for DarkZero to hold on to simply because Falcons are everywhere.
Do they know about Nave's position? Probably had a chance to get 1 kill back there. Would have made it 2 versus 3 up close. Robbie, hello. That's the Robbie that we know and expect. And it might just light a fire under him on an individual level. It's been a rough tournament for Robbie. Brought up the entry stat, but also his KD numbers have largely dropped off from Montreal. But what's most concerning right now is DarkZero have lost top floor Armory and Archives twice.
And 2 really good attacks from Falcons. So the first one I broke down in detail how they dealt with MJR on the clash over on East Stairs. So this time DarkZero came with a different strategy. They didn't try to hold on to East Stairs. Robbie said, thank you, I'm going to go in and take that. And you know then you can hold that entire length of long corridor, and it's really difficult for the team that's defending to rotate around the map. You're kind of stuck in your positions, whether that be CCTV or whether that be over on the opposite side inside of Armory. But Bolo as well was dealt with fantastically by guards. They recognise, look, if they're not going to hold East Stairs, they're probably going to hold CCTV pretty hard. The Vigil's in there, the book went underneath and cleared him out, made it super difficult for him to stay inside of there. And again, Falcons, although DarkZero tried something different, they still managed them really well. They were able to section them off, get their fights, get their 1v1s, their 2v1s, win them and take them out. Really good stuff from Falcons.
Yeah, it's good flexibility and versatility shown by Falcons. And so far, I mean, we're only 3 rounds in, but the quality that I'm seeing from Falcons right now actually seems at a higher level than what we saw against W7M, which felt like a little bit more of a scrap fest, but it was also the maps in which they were playing on were not necessarily the maps that either of those 2 teams were notoriously good on. So I think that was also a big factor. Right now, of course, Falcons are certainly the kind of team that likes to play border. They like the open pace and be aggressive. 2-1 lead. Again, they really do need this map. Bank undefeated on that, which kind of then in turn puts a little bit of pressure onto DarkZero to make this a 2-0. Otherwise, you're going to have to break that streak on Bank.
DarkZero have got 4 above at the minute, and they put in quite a lot of pressure on themselves to hold the entire top floor. You've got Nath in Armory, you've got Pamba out in Office, and then you've got Kobe and Bolo trying to hold on to CCTV and break. Bolo just has a little look out of the door again to see if he can get anything going on a little peek, but I think that Falcons sort of recognise what's going on here, and maybe there's an opportunity to go a little bit more directly. Nitro comes out but will be shot. Nice play from Falcons, enables them to open detention door. Whilst they do that, the EU1D scan goes off, so it just kind of roots DarkZero in position. The big question here, I think, is going to be, can DarkZero hold this from above? Can Bolo and Kobe, particularly in CCTV and break, make sure that they don't give themselves away? Pamba is going to be taken down. It's all done by Hasham at top metal, and that is a critical part of this round.
Yeah, the entries so far from Falcons have been swift, fast. They're able to get these early kills, putting DarkZero on their backs immediately in these rounds. Close right, Nave, are you ready for it? Well, I don't think Hasham was ready for it. Watching the hatch, good flank from Nave, gets rid of a couple of drones, and still over a minute remaining because the pace that Falcons are setting right now is they're trying to do things early in the round. It does give them more time, of course, to recover if things don't work wrong, but it does give time for the defense as Robbie is popping off. This is the best Robbie has looked probably all our side with that kill. It's a 2-player advantage and into the final minute for Falcons, looking to take a 3-1 lead.
Yeah, a really important kill there because it opens up the site. That's Bolo taken out of CCTV, so they don't need to worry about that vertical hold anymore. It's time now for Falcons to start mounting some pressure towards site. They're still wandering around, kind of face checking everything. They've got 5 drones. I'm not sure that they're fully confident that top floor is theirs just yet, but time is ticking away. Now they've moved down. They're going to be heading towards the site pretty soon.
Naif's in a good position to make first contact, and if he does get at least one, gives him the opportunity to maybe get a multi-kill here, change the course of this round. Headshot onto J-Lad, confirmed. Guards outside of that position as well with the diffuser, and he does get the trade. That was the big one. If Naif had won that, it becomes a very winnable round for DZ. Now it becomes a little bit more tricky with NJR, the solo. Really, the only win con is to deny Guards, who does go down. He wasn't planting, but he did have the kit. 3 seconds left, and if they don't get this kill, then there is every chance in which NJR could clutch it with a pistol. Comes through from Dov. Oh, a little bit messy, but hey, they get the win, Falcons. But NJR almost stealing that one for DZ.
Falcons really not making that round very easy for themselves. So Hasham gets a great double up at the top of Metal Stairs. Takes 2 down, Bolo gets killed in CCTV, so they have all of the top floor, but they didn't have any verticals. They didn't have Buck, they didn't have Sledge, they didn't have Ram, so they had no capability to really open that floor up and start forcing the defenders around. But then, even when they went in for the plant, they still didn't have the support there. And Naif and NJR were able to make it super close. You shouldn't be coming down to a 1v1 in that situation if you're Falcons.
We heard Kenny there saying vent now and then Armory next to follow after that one. So just trying to maybe try and work their way through the remainder of this opening half. I think from Kenny's perspective as well, I mean, when it comes to Border, you know, it's one of those more intriguing maps where attacks can flourish. And this is where Falcons are going to be really good. So I actually think taking the timeout now is probably the best course of strategy, because there is every world in which Falcons are capable of establishing, you know, a 4-2 half or a 5-1 half. But if you can get it back to 3-3, reset, go on the attack yourself, the map opens up a little bit more for DZ. Well-timed timeout from Kenny, and yeah, that round was so close. There would have been like, what, 1 second on the clock until that pistol landed from Dov.
Way closer than it should have been.
And as you said before, it really shouldn't have got to that point. But at the end of the day, Tim, when it comes to Six Invitational, who cares about one single round?
Just a reminder that our predictions will be going live as well. We've got a little pop-up on screen there. That won't be too long, so keep your eye on it. If you didn't do so great in the group phases, well, you know, it could be acceptable. There was a few surprise results in there, but there's plenty of opportunity. So get yourself back involved with those predictions and see. Prove to us that you've got the biggest brain in Siege.
Right now, the concern, though, if you're DarkZero, is Robbie's popping off, right? Like, he's struggled a lot in this tournament so far, and if he is able to come to the forefront for Falcons, match the output of Dov and Jalad, then they become incredibly dangerous.
My other concern, if I'm DarkZero, is, to be honest, Falcons could have another 10 or 20% here if they just started playing the rounds a little bit better. Some of the stuff they've done has been fantastic, but there, 3 versus 2, and you've got a man planting with 0 cover. Well, nobody was covering him, and that's the sort of thing they need to iron out.
In this round right now, and you kind of heard it from Kenny as well, play a bit more compact, play a little bit more together. You don't need all of the map control, and then you're stranded on an island because you're by yourself and no one can trade you, and it's a lot harder to play off as a team. Border's a big map, but you can play compact, and that's exactly what Kenny wanted in this 5th round. That's the way they're playing it, and it means for the Falcons, it's a bit harder to just brute force these certain positions, because everyone for DZ is playing in a closer vicinity. Rather than overwhelming one player with 3, now suddenly DarkZero are harder to just break that defense. And that's why nothing has really happened in this round, because Falcons have to just play the util game.
But the question is, does that lead to Falcons having that extra space that they need? They've got CCTV and Break completely in their control. DarkZero now appending to Fountain and Sight. So Falcons, with a minute and a half, have got plenty of time. They can start thinking about breaching walls. They can start putting some pressure into Office, into that Fountain position. The question is, will they? At times today, we've seen them stall out a little bit when left to their own devices. They want to be in there. They want to be aggressive. They want to be taking fights. If you don't give that to them, sometimes they kind of just stumble through the round and don't really do too much.
This has been so far the slowest round when it comes to getting that opening engagement to develop. We are under a minute, and yet it's still a 5 versus 5. But the go button has been pressed for Falcons by sending guards in towards Officers. They've lost Jalad, but they need to try and regain his position because he's got the diffuser. So guards makes his way back out, brings him back up into the forefront, and of course, now it's back to a 5v5. Jalad has the diffuser once again, so a little bit of a reset here, but heading into the final 40 seconds, DZ is set up perfectly.
Dove's in a really interesting position at the minute, just watching into sight. Any movement he's going to cut out whilst everybody else pushes Fountain and Office. This is great stuff. He manages to pick up Nafe as they try to rotate through the position of Dove. He gets a double. You can see he's just come in from Metal there. He gets himself a double to close out the round. DarkZero was so focused on that Office and Archive side push, which was reasonable. There was 4 of Falcons there. They forgot about the push coming in through 90, I think, and stood at top Metal. Dove on the Lion was able to have a little bit of a field day at the end of the round, get himself a double, 4-1, and another nice attack coming in from Vulcan.
I mean, the thing for me in this round, Tim, is DarkZero's done a lot right. The way they're playing, the positions, the compact nature of it. They're just not winning gunfights. Like, the raw micro-mechanical play right now of Falcons is just superior. Kobe's missing shots, Bolo's missing shots, Pampazoo's missing shots. Like, they're just not able to win the battles. And so therefore, then it goes from 5v5 to 4v2, then it's a 3v1 because they're just not killing enough members of Falcons. I know that's quite simplistic to say, but the rest of the round, you know, they fell back a little bit. They're a bit more compact. Yes, it gives up map control, but less likely to get overwhelmed in a position such as East Stairs or security, where you've got one player and then you throw a bunch of bodies at them and you clear it out. You had 5 players up with 40 seconds left after they also got the down onto Gelad, who's low. How can you not then close that out on one of the best defensive sides when it comes to Border? Very disappointing for DarkZero. So far, their defense on Border has been incredibly lackluster. On the vice versa, of course, you can say Falcons have looked really, really sharp and maybe aided by the fact that Robbie is playing probably the best map we've seen from him at the tournament so far. Final round coming up in the half, and Falcons are demolishing DarkZero on their attack side. Now, of course, they'll have to switch. And defending might not always be that easy for them.
Interestingly, just looking back to the previous time these two played on the 5th, against each other on Border, it was 3-3 halves, but when Falcons were on the defense, they were able to win 3 different sites: vents, bathroom, and top floor. So now you're looking at a position whereby I'm thinking they need 3 successful defenses. They've shown a capability on the 3 main sites of this map. DarkZero could be in serious trouble here, especially if Falcons manage to get themselves another round. They're attacking one last time here. DarkZero desperately need to hold on to this one.
And once again, though, they've kind of reverted back a little bit, where you've got Kobe playing that kind of waiting sort of break area by himself on the Azami, and that's fine. But what happens if Guards rushes in on that blitz and has someone playing behind him, and NJR is just up in flames? But luckily, Bolo is there as the medic, and he gets him with the stim pistol to get him back to full health, and Pampazoo gets the opening pick onto Hashim. Not too many opening kills for DarkZero in this half. That's just their second, and we'll see if they can play off of that and find what feels like a very desperate second defensive round. 90 seconds left, and certainly, again, one of the better rounds from DarkZero defensively at this point in the round, but you have to then consider the previous round in which Falcons just decimated them on site. If that happens again, DarkZero are toast on this map. They must win this one.
Yeah, Falcons are really struggling to make much progress here. They've got themselves inside of top east, but even that has been taken away from them as Bolo managed to hit a beautiful shot all the way from CCTV with the dock. He is squeezing so much value out of that operator, picking his teammates up, finding kills. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Bolo this round. Pamba manages to take down Guards as well. 4v2 as the killing continues, but Falcons are just all at sea a little bit. They're kind of running around. They're getting picked up top east. They're getting picked up in 90. They were trying to push Archives. None of it really working, and it all comes down to Gelad out on Metal Stairs. They know exactly where he is now. DarkZero will almost certainly close out this round. I'd be very surprised if anything else happens. They've got 3 angles out.
Look at this discipline. I mean, this is almost like one of those kind of training maps where everyone's holding a certain position and you kind of go through and you clear them out. Yeah, much better from DarkZero. And I think a lot of what they did in that round, Tim, is also what they did in the previous round as well, where I think the early portion of the round was better. They weren't throwing their lives away and allowing swift entry kills for Falcons. And then, you know, you're playing from behind and you're having to shuffle everyone around defensively. They were very compact, played sight, keep office control. You know where Falcons are hitting, hit them back in a very similar fashion. And this time they were able to also just hit some shots early on. I mean, this is a really good example from Bolo to find that opening pick. Pampazoo knows that Guards at that point is getting desperate. You know, the Blitz has already lost a couple of members, so he needs to pull the pistol out rather than just be the shield off. More concise and elegant from DarkZero in that round, but unfortunately, that was their final defensive round. 2-4 half in favor of Falcons. But they go into the defense, and DarkZero have to show us what they've got on the attack.
I'm keeping a close eye on the lineup of DarkZero here, the operators that they're bringing along, because last time around when they played Border against Falcons, it was a very consistent lineup that they were bringing. They were bringing the Monty, the Nomad, the Lion, the Ace, almost every round. There was a little bit of chopping and changing in there, but the vast majority saw those operators being brought along. And the reason that I'm watching for that is because you've got to be careful about rinsing and repeating. You've already shown that hand to Falcons, and that's going to be primarily what they are prepared for. As it stands, they have mixed it up a bit. I'm really glad to see that. NJR on the Capitão, Nave on the Twitch, so they are doing things a little bit differently. They're not going to be trying to brute force their way in behind the Monty. They are still concerned about the jump outs and the flanks, so Kobe's going to lock those down with the air jabs. I think that's absolutely fine, but in terms of an execute here, it's going to be all about that Capitão. It's going to be about Nave clearing out that utility to create a path for them.
DarkZero set the tone early to begin the second half and highlight to Falcons they're more than capable of getting attacking rounds themselves. Again, in terms of the importance of this map, I mean, DarkZero, you lose this map, then Bank is inevitable for any chance of qualifying forward. And again, it's an undefeated map for Falcons. Cafe is a very strong map as well for DarkZero, which means for Falcons, you probably don't want to lose this map. Neither of these two teams really can afford to lose Border.
Kobe's just walked inside a site. He's gone in through the armory breach. Sorry, he's taken top floor, looking to move across and take over. There you go. That's the opener that they wanted. Robbie manages to find Bolo, but Kobe going big on that top floor. Falcons have allowed him in. They haven't challenged him walking into armory, and he's done some serious damage with two of them taken down. Falcons trying to hold on to bathroom tellers, but now they are reliant on Hasham. Top floor on his own, trying to hold that office location. Jalad out on East stairs. He should be reasonably easily pushed away from here.
But Guards is on a bit of a roam, and Jalad, yes, does get pushed around. This is where Guards needs to try and get into a flanking position, making his way up towards top metal. Pambazu in the hallway could get caught by Guards if he does make his time nicely. He has held, though, and is not really helping out Hasham. Hasham has had to drop bathroom.
It's actually pretty smart here, I think, because by Hasham dropping, that might just give DarkZero a little bit of false comfort here in thinking that they've cleared that top floor and can start pressuring towards site. Hasham has to win that fight, but doesn't. Guards, your time is now or never. The question is there an air jab? I can't hear anything. I think he should be cleared to move his way on through.
They've got an idea, and Pambazu hits the headshot.
Good fucking calls, good entry. Nice.
These guys are doing
nice.
Shit they did against us already, bro. What the fuck? Bro, Nate, once you said he was on the monitor, I remember, I was like, nah, he's gonna prone there. He's gonna prone.
Well, I think the biggest thing in that round, firstly, Kobe's
entry was
he was
great.
Absolutely the one that set the round up for DarkZero with the double kill entry. It opened things up, and it starts to then shuffle that defense around. No, you know, everyone has to try and backfill in a position that someone just died in. You're losing that top floor pressure. That's just unfortunate for Doc. You know, it's one of those situations where it was being watched the minute he made that hole. But I think also, for me, Falcons still kind of brought the round back a little bit. And I felt like the drop to bathroom was fine. Hasham had to win that fight. If he wins that fight, you've still got Guards up above. In a 2v2, I think that's a far more winnable point for them. But he loses that. At that point, it's so hard for Guards.
I think Guards was just maybe a little bit too on edge there. He's shot a little bit too early. I think he's just got involved. He's given his position away. I genuinely am not convinced that DarkZero knew that he was there up until the point where he sprayed through the soft wall. Really, you want that first shot to be a guaranteed kill. You want to hold your position there and just wait for one of them to stray across so you can see them. You don't want to be spraying blindly through a soft wall, because at that point, bang, they're immediately onto you. If you wait, maybe they know you're there, maybe they've seen you on a drone, but at least you've got that great opportunity that they don't. One of them strays across, you hit the shot, you got a 1v2, you've got a little bit of panic, maybe you level things up to a 1v1 quickly. But Guards, alas, just went a little bit too soon, a bit too aggressive maybe on that flank attempt. So DarkZero get themselves back to 3-4. I think it was a pretty good attack all in all. They took what was offered to them. They went in there and got the kills and got the control. And Falcons never really recovered from that.
No, they certainly didn't. They're going to have to recover in this round, though, because you don't want to give up that lead, and you're on defense border now, so it's not going to be as easy. If DarkZero start to get on a roll and gain that momentum, they're going to be very difficult to stop. Pambazu playing very well in this game, too. Falcons, I think, in the previous round. Just a couple of little micro errors, but very much fixable. Robbie makes a little bit of contact, falls back into a break. This time, Falcons definitely want to be more engaged against DarkZero earlier in the round, keeping them more on the balcony if they possibly can. Pistol out from Nafe is successful, but the opening kill did go the way of Hashem onto Bolo. No more sends, no more ROUs.
Yeah, that's the big problem there. They've lost that real tip of the spear, the idea for the execute. They can adapt, of course. They still have the blitz. It's very possible for Nafe to do that, and I like the aggression that DarkZero have shown here. We say that for the attackers, it's about getting themselves into the building. They did that extremely aggressively. Dover on the dock was forced to just get back across the site, but they've not really done anything with the ground they've stood around too long, and that's led to Nafe being hit with that C4. That's the blitz gone, and I'm really looking now, wondering where is the execute going to come from DarkZero?
Robbie holding for just a microsecond cost him a free kill. He may still get it and will get it. Shot in the back, Pampasu goes down. That's Kit on the floor. Down to Kobe and NJR. Kobe does get one and ties things up in a 2 versus 2 manner against Jalad and Dov. Certainly a winnable round for either of the two teams, and a big fight, and it's a 1-for-1 battle as Dov and NJR take care of each other. It's down to Kobe and Jalad, and he's got the yellow ping information. Kobe with the contact, but Jalad is just sharper with the SMG-11. Gets the headshot kill, and Falcons take a pivotal round, Tim, because it was a genuine coin flip.
So again, DarkZero, they're just unaware of their flanks. Robbie's underneath. They have absolutely no idea that the Capcan is down there. Whether that be lack of droning, whether that not be, covering those flanks well enough, Robbie is able to walk up and just get himself an absolute freebie into Fountain. I think he sticks around for a bit too long. He stands in that breach and gets himself traded out. It's, it's a bit too easy. You can see here he's just kind of waiting around. He thinks he's maybe going to be challenged from Esports. Honestly, if you're Robbie there, get your first kill and just dip out of there, because whilst they haven't killed you, you are then a constant problem to them. They know that you are on the flank somewhere, but they don't know where, so you start wasting time. Overcommitted a little bit, but Falcons still get the round done. Who else would you want in that 1v1 today other than Jalad?
Yeah.
Going absolutely huge in the last game. He's been doing well in this one as well. He seems unstoppable.
It's fascinating as well. We had the match earlier, Falcons W7M, and one of those maps, Tim, every single opening kill was converted into a round win. It's happened again here so far through the first 8 rounds. If you get the opening kill, you've gotten the round win. So that's been an intriguing correlation for both of the two teams. And it's putting that emphasis, I think, on the early engagements. That's natural. It's border. You get that early pick and you suddenly can just spread out and get more map control, more space. It's harder for either the attack or the defense if you're down 1 or 2 players on this map. 2-round buffer. Falcons 2 rounds away from taking this map, and while it is their map pick, significant importance on it because of the map pool. Pampasu on the Deimos, will see if he can get involved with the death mark. Certainly has options of plenty already available if he so chooses, but what was most intriguing for me in the previous round is how much longer Falcons were able to keep DarkZero in bad positions out on that balcony. I'm curious to see if it happens again here.
There's 4 on top floor at the minute from Falcons. It looks like DarkZero are going to be going in for a clearance, but they don't actually have much capability to actually use those verticals once they've got them. I think it's more about clearing them out to create the opportunity to plant, because they've got 3 soft breach charges, and that's about it really. So they don't want to lose too many bodies for this top floor clearance, because it'll be a big loss if they do, because ultimately they're not really going to be using it. The Malusi at the bottom of Metal just gets spotted out there, and I don't think they're aware from the drone, but Jalad again finishes the round big and starts this one big.
Yeah.
Manages to take down Kobe. That's the Nomad gone. Could be a couple of air jabs lost as well, but Nafe manages to pick up one onto Hasham, and that gets things moving for DarkZero.
Yeah, again, it's that real scrappy nature of border coming to the forefront now as we get closer to the end of this map, and teams are just desperate. You lose one, you're certainly then going to go searching for the response, and the response was found through Nafe. 4v4. As close as this feels like it could get right now on border, and NJR. What's he up to here on a little lurk outside? Brutalas. One inside a bathroom is Robbie. He may not be aware of this, and his life could be at risk, but no, Cam was up. Default was up. So immediately he has to now rotate away from that position. 60 seconds left in the round, Tim. There's not a lot of time for DZ.
Dovahkiin's in a really important position here because you've got Naif downstairs, outside ventilation window with the case in hand. It would suggest that's where they're going to try to get a plant down, and he does go in. He gets locked in place for a second as Dovahkiin, but they need to have the cover here because he was the one going in for the vertical. DarkZero have done what they needed. Great kill from Bolo. Naif loses his life inside a sight, and they take the opportunity. Surely they don't get away with this.
Way.
NJR is rushing in. Nade goes down. They just keep on holding. Pros don't fake.
They don't, Tim. They certainly don't. And inside of the server, Falcons are giving it to DarkZero. Question marks. The thank you for the smoke as well, which was impressively capable of helping them get their own counter defuse. Match point for Falcons and a slight little blunder for DarkZero. I think getting the plant down is fine. The repel from Bolo as well to get a kill. Things were starting to take shape for DarkZero, but immediately they get on for the counter defuse just as DZ also throw in a smoke to help them.
As soon as that smoke pops, in my head I'm thinking, just hold F.
Yeah.
Just
I think he was going to do it
anyway. The thing
anyway.
is, the plan was great. Bolo's cover was fantastic. Dovahkiin was the one who could prevent it.
Wow.
But then you've just made it 10 times harder for yourself. NJR's raced into window and sends a nade in. That's too late because it's not going to detonate by the time he's got the disable. You've got your man on ace coming in from main door. He's the one that you want to be stopping that. You're looking at Bolo to not only have taken Dovahkiin down and enabled the plant, but then to rescue the situation. But you've nerfed yourself with a smoke grenade that stops him being able to make that clean shot. Maybe he wouldn't have been in time anyway. But still, I know I'd much rather disable a diffuser in the middle of a lot of smoke than I would without.
Yeah. 3 opportunities for Falcons on border. And it means for DarkZero, if they cannot win this map, they will have to win Cafe, and Bank is a map in which Falcons have not lost for many months.
Could be the last defensive round for Falcons to hold on to here. They're going to be inside a bathroom. If you remember me saying before we came into this, last time these two teams played, Falcons were able to get wins in ventilation, in armory, and in bathroom. Only one apiece, but they showed an ability to hold on to all 3 sites. It looks like they might just be able to do the same, but with much greater reward this time. Last time, they lost border 8-7. This time, they're looking for a 7-3 win, and I don't think that they know that DarkZero are supposed to be the favourites in this matchup. Did nobody tell them?
Don't think so. J-Lad and Hashem have been the 2 for Falcons. They've got every single opening pick, all 6 of them. And J-Lad almost got another one, but shot down by Bambazu. Naif just barely stays alive. And a response from DarkZero. And they needed to. After the calamity of the previous round, this was absolutely required. Even if they do not go on and win this map, you've got to just keep fighting, try and bring momentum back into the server. Bolo, with his 2nd of the round, shuts down Robbie. And while it might be 3 match point opportunities for Falcons, it should dwindle down to 2, as DarkZero have arguably had their most convincing round on the attacking half of them.
Bolo's done some great work inside of CCTV, both on the defense and the attack. He really has commanded that corner of the map and continues to do so in this round, getting a couple of kills from there. He is going to come head-to-head with Hasham here. I don't know if he's aware of his position. He absolutely is. Bolo manages to find the headshot. That's a 3K in the round. Guards. He's going to be taken down from the hatch. It's NJR who gets the final one, and that's going to be DarkZero getting a really important attack over the line. The problem that they've got now is that they've got to go back to sites that Falcons have already won.
Yeah, and that was something you also brought up earlier, Tim, regarding previous matchups for, of course, Falcons on this map. Last time these 2 teams played, Falcons had the ability to win multiple sites, and so with still 2 more opportunities, you would imagine they have the capability to close this one out. By no means will it be easy, and certainly a better round from DarkZero that highlights far more of their qualities and what they are capable of. But it's just going to come down to these little micro plays, micro decisions, and so far a lot of that has been going the way of Falcons, especially that big boo-boo with the smoke earlier from DarkZero. And even this, I mean, like, Naif almost lost his life to Jalad, and then Jalad runs down and dies. And so those are the little moments that have a big swing effect. Rather than a 5-on-4, the Falcons, it becomes a 5-on-4 to DarkZero, and from there they're able to just snowball the round and do so very comfortably.
I'm just wondering as well, obviously the bans are reversed. It was Falcons who banned away Monty. Monty was an operator that DarkZero played behind a lot last time they were here against them 5 days ago. Nath was on Monty almost every single round. This time coming in, Falcons have said, yeah, that's fine, let's see how you do without Monty. And the answer is DarkZero generally are struggling a little bit now to get the attacks done. They don't have that shield in front of them to just draw that focus, to create that space for them. They've tried to use the blitz. It hasn't worked. Nath managed to get into CCTV and create a little bit of space, but after that, nothing really came of it. So after that one attempt, they've kind of dropped the shield here, DarkZero, and, well, they need to find an alternative answer, and they need to find it quick, because the Falcons just need one more.
Again, putting the emphasis on that entry kill. It has been a big part of this map, and Robbie finds essentially 2 with 1 as Pamper's still down, yes, but he did get the kill onto Nath. And Pamper's in a bad way, and that means DarkZero also in a bad way over towards the east stairs. They might be able to get him back up. They absolutely need to get him back up. Otherwise, you're staring down the barrel of losing this map. Bolo with the Vendetta out. Can he make an impact in towards break? No, Robbie gets away despite the death mark. And Pamperzoo back up.
They've done a really good job there, getting in, just chasing Robbie away. Him and Hasham were the 2 that were threatening Bamba out on East Stairs, but they've been forced back, and that's enabled them to get him back on his feet. Could be a key move for DarkZero. At the minute, DarkZero are just lining up on the east side of the map. They've got NJR and Kobe out by East Stairs, looking to pressure towards Archive. Dovey, he's just trying to hold on to CCTV for the time being. He knows the importance, he knows the value of that for those late flanks potentially across balcony onto East Stairs. That's something that DarkZero are going to have to be aware of if they want to stack up towards this side of the map.
Yeah, and they know that they have to clear up above, even though they would probably like to try and hit site. You absolutely have to get through this defensive fortress set up by Falcons. Mirror window will get dealt with. The breach charge gets rid of it from Pamperzoo, and that was one good reason as well why you get the Ash back up, being able to deal with that mirror window far more comfortably. With 50 seconds left though, DarkZero need to pick up their pace.
They do, but there's actually a lot of space for them to work into in Archives here. They've pretty much been given that side of the site. They've got Jalad underneath on the Solis. He's the one there to try and prevent this plant, but if they go onto concrete, onto bricks for example, it might be difficult for him to get the angle to do so. I'm not sure how aware they are of his position underneath. They know that there's somebody in at half wall, and they'll try to find a kill to get him going, but this could be dangerous.
Oh, the timing. Kobe does hit the headshot onto Dov, and now may feel he's comfortable, but down below, the Solus is able to spot that kit on the floor, and now with 14 seconds left, it becomes a disaster of a round for DarkZero. NJR and Pamperzoo, no health, no way in which he's going to be able to clutch this one. Falcons are going to take the opening map of this series and sets them up perfectly. 1-0 Falcons, and DarkZero find themselves on the ropes.
Falcons just had every answer. They were the better team on board. Simple as that. DarkZero have really struggled without their Monty, without their shield to play in behind, and Falcons there have taken advantage of small mistakes from DarkZero, a lack of intel. They didn't know the Solis was underneath. They weren't prepared for Jalad just dropping that diffuser on the ground. He played it beautifully, kept himself off the radar. Wonderful stuff. Great siege from Falcons.
All I'm saying is Robbie is back. Be prepared. Look out if you're still at Six Invitational, because if Robbie's on the loose, it's going to be a tough time against Team Falcons as they take the lead in this series. An elimination game, 1-0 over DarkZero.
There are many great players who are not champions, who have never lifted the hammer, who might never lift the hammer. And it's not because they aren't good enough, they just might not put in what it requires to really get there. Because they are the goods and not the greats.
There is not 1 hour of the day where your mind can be off siege. You have to sacrifice everything to win.
If you were to win any event and call it quits, it would probably be the Six Invitational. chegar no topo uma vez. Então, assim, foi um momento de muita emoção.
The Invitational is, you know, the kind of the final checkpoint, the final test. It meant the world to me.
History will be made here because for the first time on home soil, a Brazilian team will win a world championship.
The only thing that matters is the 4 guys next to you, your coach, and the screen in front of you.
No one ever really just goes and wins. You have to go through the pain, the hardships.
Phase are exploding!
You have to go all in, that's it.
Quem perdeu foi nós tudo ali, e a gente que vai virar isso aqui agora.
Você tem que confiar muito no seu time.
Não vamos desistir, não vamos desistir.
And brought it all the way back!
Passa demais, porra!
When you truly want to become the best, you truly have to believe that you are, because you have to play it 100%.
It's a bad time to be any favoured team in any matchup here at the Six Invitational 2025. Jack, I'm still speechless, but this was a really clinical map from Falcons.
Absolutely, and it started off with their map pick of Border. Now, why is Border so good for Falcons? The reason being is, especially when you start out on the defense, when you're on the defense but equally on the attack, you need to be confident in taking 1v1 engagements. You can't always start on crossfires. You can't always make micro plays with your team, especially if you're out on the defense. Like you said, Lax, it's Eastars, it's CC, it's Break Room, it's Armory, it's maybe one below. On your own, you need to be confident in 1v1s and playing a little bit weirdly. That's what Falcons are excellent at. That's the environment that they absolutely thrive in. Then you add into the fact that they ban away the Monty from DarkZero. What does Monty do? It enables teams to play together and play behind that focal point. They took it away from DarkZero, and DarkZero really struggled on their attacks. Look at so many of these gunfights. They're not trading. They're 1v1v1 engagements here. And who are the best people to take those engagements? The Fraggers, the Robbies, the Hashoms, the J-Lads.
I mean, the last round in particular, we were talking about how aggressive Falcons are, and that was being displayed through and through. And then when we switched that defensive half, it started to taper off a little bit for me. I did see a little bit of airs, but the biggest thing to take away from that last round in particular, I wanted Robbie to just get a kill, get out. That's exactly what he does. He downs the player top east, gets the kill outside of the balcony. What does he do? Rotates back to break, rotates back to CC, then rotates all the way back into Armory, and then they just let DarkZero come into their setup, play the crossfires, and just get it done beautifully. And in terms of the lack of intel, they didn't even know that there was a Solus blow. They felt so confident that they could go into archives, get that bomb down. Unfortunately, they didn't read into what Falcons were doing, and it was just such a good game of Siege and just playing into your defense and just taking full advantage of the DarkZero lineup.
Look, small moments can determine an entire matchup, right? Falcons had a couple of those moments go their way, Jack. Maybe if it swings the other way, DarkZero make it a little closer. But do you think DarkZero looked better or good enough to get a... I want to say get a foot forward. I'm trying to think of how I want to say this. But do you think DarkZero are in a position going into map 2 where they're actually favored?
I think the map is so unique in terms of how that map plays out that DarkZero will have expected that style of gameplay.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I don't think they've got the map pool to be able to ban Border in that ban phase. They've had to just accept it and try and put on their best show. A couple of rounds go the other way. We're maybe talking about an overtime, but it is what it is. That's their opponent's map pick. Now they just have to focus on their own map pick.
I think the biggest thing for me, especially when you go into the cafe, is more so the fact the Achilles heel for every aggressive team is their own aggression.
Yeah.
And if they can't put a tamed leash on Falcons in terms of their aggression, they're just going to run through it. So if they can just, again, DZ just needs to let them come into them.
Sure.
And it will be a night and day difference, I swear, in terms of overall performance.
Well, it's time for us to head to Cafe, but before we do, a short break. We'll see you on the other side.
There are many great players who are not champions, who have never lifted the hammer, who might never lift the hammer. And it's not because they aren't good enough, they just might not put in what it requires to really get there. Because they're the goods and not the greats.
There is not 1 hour of the day where your mind can be off siege. You have to sacrifice everything to win.
If you were to win any event and call it quits, it would probably be the Six Invitational.
Chegar no topo uma vez, então assim foi um momento de muita emoção.
The Invitational is, the kind of the final checkpoint, the final test. It meant the world to me.
History will be made here because for the first time on home soil, a Brazilian team will win a world championship.
The only thing that matters is the 4 guys next to you, your coach, and the screen in front of you.
No one ever really just goes and wins. You have to go through the pain, the hardships.
Phase are exploding!
You have to go all in, that's it.
Quem perdeu foi nós tudo ali. E a gente que vai virar isso aqui agora.
Você tem que confiar muito no seu time.
Não vamos desistir, não vamos desistir.
Davi Sakiemi and brought it all the way back!
Passa demais, porra!
When you truly want to become the best, you truly have to believe that you are, because you have to play it 100%.
DarkZero's tournament is on the line. You can see it on their faces right now. They know what they're staring at.
You were also seeing on the footwork on Kengu right there. He was relaxed. He had his leg crossed going over those notes. I mean, you got to feel like DZ's in a good state and a good mental right now. When your coach is legs crossed, they know what they got to do on Cafe.
It's always shorts, even when you're British, wherever you are, whether you're in Boston or not. As Kenny and Nate both were in shorts today. I think realistically, look, you are going into your map pick for DZ. You know how Falcons are going to play. You know the map and the environment is going to suit your style a little bit better. It's much harder to play those lurky positions, those 1v1 engagements on Cafe. It's a much more team-based game. Let's not forget that DZ absolutely battered BDS on Cafe. They've got a very, very good record on it. They love it. It is their map pick.
And again, I talked about it before the end of this. An Achilles heel for every aggressive team is their own aggression. And DZ is going to be starting on attack. And a lot of aggressive teams like to not let teams get into the building. So this is on DZ to truly realize, okay, let them swing into us, play into our line of sight. Let's play the trade game. Because we know Falcons don't ever let up on their aggression as much as we would like them to, compared to their last round that I did highlight where they did. But I do want to give them out, an out here is that if they can just slow down on their aggression, Falcons can look good here. But if they can't, DZ's going to take full advantage of it.
It's very important for DZ not to make many, if any, mistakes, because if you give Falcons an inch, they will take them out.
That they certainly do. We've seen it before, and we will see it again. It's time to head to Cafe with our two casters that look like they're smack bang out of a 1970s UK cop TV show.
Yeah, thank you, Rob. I'm excited for this because I think the incentive is certainly on DZ to take out Cafe, which would set us up for a third map team. And that's exactly what I want. When you get to these elimination games, you want to go the distance. You want to see all three maps. DarkZero, can they respond on Cafe? You would hope so. You would think so.
I just want to know if I'm good cop or bad cop.
You're the good cop.
Okay.
I'm the bad cop.
I can go.
I feel like Des would be the bad cop as well.
Definitely be the bad cop. Right, let's get into it then. It's going to be Cafe. By the logic of, if you beat the world champions, you're then the best team in the world. Technically, DZ battered BDS, who battered Falcons on Cafe, so surely DZ are at least 4 times better on this map, I think. I don't know, something like that. But yeah, DarkZero have shown an ability to play Cafe where Falcons did struggle. The big sticking point for me when I look at can Falcons win this or not is in that matchup against BDS on Cafe, they failed to win a single attack, Jake. They couldn't get it done, and it was a 6-0 half for BDS on the defense. Coming in here, it is no surprise to see Falcons starting on the defense. They need to accumulate as many rounds as they can in case they have that struggle attacking again. As like said, they need to keep their aggression in check. They need to make sure that they are getting in there with purpose, but not over-committing. Monty, Blackbeard, Azami, all pretty standard bans, and we'll get one final defender come in. They are the right way around this time, so Falcons do ban out Mira and Monty. No surprise, like I said, they banned out Monty last time around as well. It's been a very common ban. It's hard to call it a target because a lot of teams have been using it when available. But like I say, last time these two teams played, DarkZero used it to quite a large effect against Falcons. So they want absolutely no more of that.
So do or die now for DarkZero because of the first map going the way of Falcons. The rest of this series is now do or die. DarkZero must win the remaining 2 maps if they want to progress forward here at the Six Invitational. For Falcons, you're now 1 map away from a series of which you then win that and you can go main stage at Six Invitational, which would be a dramatic moment for this Falcons roster. This is a map, though, in which the statistics do not favor Falcons. 3-6 record over the last couple of months, and some of the actual numbers here, I don't know why I said minus, 29% attacker win rate, which is not good.
I prefer minus 29%. I prefer the minus.
And then the biggest thing is also only a 60% defensive win rate. And I say only, but when it comes to Cafe, and certainly when it goes to other sites in the map pools for Team Falcons, they're vastly better defensively on other maps, which is a concern here on Cafe. In saying all of that, they begin defense to begin, which I think should be a good spot for them to maybe get some rounds, get a good feel for the way that DarkZero want to play on this map.
They have to get themselves a good start, and it's not going to come much better than that. We can see them, that aggression that we've spoken about. Nitro goes out, successful as well. Dovahkiin finish off Bolo. That's the Capitale loss. We've lost Kobe, so a good bit of utility lost with Striker as well, of course, having 2 secondary utilities available to them. So right now, DarkZero already on the back foot. We said that Falcons needed a good start on defense. They're going to need 4, maybe even 5 rounds here if they want to compete, if they are going to have the same sort of attacking struggles that they had against BDS. They are well on the way to at least getting themselves a 1-0, because they're not giving DarkZero an inch here. They're not giving them any room to breathe.
Pampazoo doesn't last very long at the end of that round. It was also not a round that lasted very long in general. Perfect start for Falcons here on Cafe, the second map of this series. Guards is all smiles, Falcons all smiles. And that's the start that you want, because if you can build that scoreboard pressure, it relieves your own pressure coming into a map that is favored for the opposition.
You look at Falcons right now, you look at DarkZero right now. A happy team is a dangerous team.
Yep.
When you're playing like that, yeah, you've got to keep a lid on it. You don't want it getting out of control. You can't start getting cocky with it and taking too many risks. But a happy team is a dangerous team. And right now, Falcons are feeling this. They are enjoying themselves. Whereas DarkZero, they look like the weight of the world is on their shoulders. In all honesty, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Their position in this tournament rests on this map. And right now, Falcons have just come and run over them in the first round. So yeah, the weight of the world is on their shoulders, but that makes it difficult to play. That's when the mistakes start creeping in.
It does. Some choice words. And the other aspect as well is DarkZero now have to get into that mindset that we are in it for the long haul. Yep. There is no shortcut here. We can't just win Cafe and then go to bed. You need to win Cafe and bank. And that's very easy to kind of get into a player's head and have to worry about that, but they need to avoid those thoughts and just focus one round at a time and have that sort of mentality. But that one round at a time doesn't work too much when you lose the opening round of the map. It's a reset round now for DarkZero. They'll get another opportunity. And of course, already bettering the previous round. By this point, they'd already lost 2 players to some rather early aggression by Falcons. We head on over to second floor for the second round.
So the majority of the defensive utility, and I'm looking at the, what have you got to deny a plant? So we're looking at those Vulcan canisters for Robbie. 2 of them are on reading door, so they are definitely lining up defensively, thinking that they're going to be pushed on the reading door side. There is potentially then an opportunity for DarkZero to move in more through mining, more through train, try and get themselves into fireplace, try and get a plant down inside of there. If they see the gaps, they're going to have to get top floor, of course. Asham is up there at the minute. Kobe taking an absolute ton of damage from him. They're going to have to move the Valkyrie, and they will do as Pamba goes in. But again, DarkZero just not prepared for the aggression coming out of Falcons as Robbie manages to get up there. And it's something Falcons have done well, impacting on their teammates' deaths. Robbie for the trade, 4 versus 4, and they've lost the sledge a lot of, if not all, of their verticality.
Oh, this is intriguing. In towards Cigar Shop. Dov doesn't get cleared because Guards is watching. Dov does end up losing his life, but it's another kill for Falcons and saying that we're all tied up 3 versus 3. And after you losing that sledge, you now lose the Nomad as well. So you're starting to lose some pieces here for the attacking round of DarkZero. They are desperate for a response after losing the opening round. Guards 3-0, Robbie up and Jalad up. Lots of firepower still remaining for the defensive Falcons here. And a Nitrocell on Guards could be a big deciding factor on a site such as this.
Whilst DarkZero got themselves back on the drones looking for intel, Falcons took the opportunity to dip away back into Cocktail and to drop deeper and deeper. They've now been forced back down to site. So that's vertical control for DarkZero, but they don't have any options beyond shooting the gun through the floor to open anything extra up. So that's something they need to be aware of. They've kind of got to work with the verticals they've got. There's 30 seconds left to go. They're not yet down onto site, and they've still got kills to find.
Jalad in a position as well where you could look to flank if there is going to be that pillar drop, but instead it's in towards Laundry. Robbie watching, waiting, did get the down onto Nath. I don't know if there's time for Polo to worry about bringing him back up, but luckily NJR gets the kill onto Jalad and finds the second onto Guards as well. The drop and the triple stack together. DarkZero just move as one giant unit, and and they're able to push through, get the kills necessary. Huge attacking round early on for DarkZero.
Yeah, that's great from DarkZero to say that they'd lost their utility, their ability to create any vertical pressure, and they just had to drop in, take fights and win them. They did a good job to keep themselves in the round as well. The trades were there. Once they were losing bodies, it was never really out of hand, the man count. 3v3 towards the end, and they were able to really pressure Falcons. They forced them back away. Initially, it was Falcons choosing to dip back, and they went and sat inside a cocktail, but then the pressure mounted so quickly that they just had to drop the hatch. DarkZero did the same 30 seconds later, got the kills as they went down, and closed out the round. So good attack from the North American side.
If you do want to be a little bit critical of Falcons, though, and we probably need to in this situation, is they didn't need to play the end of round in that fashion. There's 14 seconds remaining. Forced EZ to push into site, to have to clear site, to then have to get the plant down, and that's when you strike. When there's 7 or 8 seconds left on the clock, Tim, and that's when they're trying to get the plant down, and you deny, and you be pesky on the defense. Instead, as soon as Robbie died, the other 2 remaining players were like, oh, we need to just take the fight when you don't need to.
And I think it's that aggression that we talk about, you know, again, for Falcons. They believe that they can win every fight. They believe that they can go in there and do it. And, yeah, sometimes it's going to win your rounds. Sometimes it's not. 1-1. Falcons continue trying to get as many defenses stockpiled for the winter as they can here, because when they get on the attack, they could be scarce to come by, these rounds.
We said that, though, didn't we, in our previous matchup against W7M? And look how that turned out when they were able to get quite a few attacking rounds on Skyscraper, and we didn't think they had it in them. So you can never count them out, and certainly not the way that Falcons have been playing today. DarkZero, that was at least a nice reprieve, just releases the pressure valve ever so slightly, getting that early attacking round on the board, especially after losing the opening map. It's 1-1. Okay, gets the brain thinking in a more positive manner rather than maybe doubts and bad thoughts creeping into the back of the mind as they slowly get to work here to begin the 3rd round.
At the minute, DarkZero focusing on towards the west side of the map mostly. At the minute, they've got Bolo on the white corridor rappel, NJR on the aircon units looking in through White Stairs window. So again, just trying to cut off any potential rotations for Falcons here. Make life difficult for them if they want to move around. Jalad just opens up that hatch to give himself another avenue, another option to escape should he need to. And this is good team coordination here. Bolo going in aggressively, gets himself a kill. This is nice from DarkZero. The support that he had from the Capitao to get in, but somehow Falcons are the ones that come away with the entry. And another as Robbie finds Pamba. Bolo does take him down eventually. 4v2 though, as Jalad manages to get the kill as well. Ashok is still down. Probably not going to be collected. 3 versus 2 is still pretty good for Falcons.
Yeah, a bit scrappy up above, but it is Falcons that walk away with an ever so slight advantage. Naif and Kobe both actually yet to find a kill through the opening 3 rounds. No gas babes remaining for Jalad. In fact, really, in terms of remaining utility, it is probably only the Soulless that could provide some value by being able to locate the diffuser. With 35 seconds remaining, the duo of DarkZero need to start making their way towards site.
Dovakin's just trying to keep himself off the radar here. He's just a little bit further down red. It's too easy again. DarkZero have got no idea. The first walks into him. The second loses the fight. A great finish from the Soulless on Falcons. They just got themselves positioned really well. It was a little bit of a risk for Falcons. When we were coming towards the end there was one out in Reading, there was Dovakin on red stairs, and then there was one inside a train. So they'd created this big triangle. It was maybe a little bit too big. They were maybe a little bit too separated. Had they got the kill onto Dovakin there, it would have been a 2v2 and nobody would have been in a position for Falcons to really challenge him. But it worked out as he won the fight.
Well, the rather calm Kenny at the moment, not quite the energetic version of himself that we've seen throughout Six Invitational so far, and a very early tactical timeout as well, Tim. Oh, I mean, I can't disagree with it too much. They did something similar as well on Border, so that's just the way that they want to utilize those timeouts. But clearly he feels like this is an opportunity. We're in the attack. If we get rounds in this half, it's going to make our life a lot easier in the next half.
Yeah, I think the last thing Kenny wants to do in that timeout is incite any sort of panic in the team. If they see him getting in there all, you know, hyped up and right on the edge, it maybe just increases the tension for them as well. You can see, once again, we've just got our little reminder for you. There are prizes to be won if you're the big brain of Siege. Get on there and do your predictions. They will be live pretty soon for the next set of games coming here in Phase 2. Go in there and show us how much you know. I'll tell you what, though, Xenox. It's a tough game at the minute, isn't it? There's so many upsets at this Invitational.
I wouldn't even know how to predict this game right now. There's a long, long way to go, let alone any of the matchups that we've had previously today. So many big names eliminated from SI. But it also means, and I look at it in the positive light, Tim, and it provides different teams to maybe make their own shining moment to become those big teams in future.
Up onto the top floor, DarkZero will be attacking them for the time being, getting themselves up to the rooftop to start working from there. I think we will have a piano take coming in. There's not really any presence out towards east at the moment. We're just going to be working on that white window rappel. And then the rest of it, I would imagine, is going to be trying to get themselves on into piano, take control. We know the process. Get themselves into piano, into top red, take cigar, take piano, move down, get some control over timber, and then start pressuring in towards site, looking for a plant just inside of that default spot near the B-bomb chassis, just on the other side of the small bar. But for the time being, the droning will continue for DarkZero as they are looking to get themselves a little bit of intel. Right now, Falcons are very relaxed inside of site. They're not being forced around, they're not being disrupted, they're not moving, they're just holding their positions for the time being. And the one to watch for is Dovahkiin underneath. He's on the Mozzie, he's got the Nitro in hand. He is keen for it. He's thinking about potential jump outs. Can I get peaks? Can I get a Nitro from underneath once they get into piano?
Yeah, Dov's definitely going to be one to watch, but also for DarkZero, if they can find a pick on these upside-down rappels, for instance. Right now, where Dov is located, there really are no members of DarkZero, so he's not too much of a threat currently, but certainly could be later in the round. Still all this rappel and exterior play. There's no real map control when it comes to DarkZero outside of Pambasu, who's just sitting top red stairs by himself.
Yeah, they're just inviting DarkZero on into piano, but at the minute, DarkZero not really taking the bait. I think they know that there's something to be wary of there, but the question is, do they have another plan here? We're down to 45 seconds. They don't have any kills on the board. They don't have any map control. They're gonna find this difficult to put the diffuser down in this last 35 seconds as it stands.
And they're so split up as well. DarkZero are making it difficult to play off of each other, and it's these solo entries from many different angles that are being covered very comfortably by Falcons. 3 kills in quick succession, a 4th then found, and this may end up being flawless. Indeed it will, Tim. That was a very lackluster attack from DarkZero. I think there's no other way to really frame that round.
So DarkZero started out all towards piano on the rooftop. I think they had a look at it and they've thought, no, we're not going to go in there. Whether they've drawn Dovahkiin underneath or not, I don't know. If they had, I would imagine that the Mozzie would have returned to site because he's not going to want to leave himself there to be challenged necessarily. So I don't think that was the case. But I think DarkZero were just very wary of, we're being given piano here. Why are they giving us all of this? Why are they not holding that whatsoever? And they didn't want to go in there. So they rotated and they wanted to have a look at east side instead. And what happened was they got Bolo on east window and they got NJR on the new balcony window, heaven window, if you want to call it that. They tried to go in at the same time, but it was just such a big play by guards. He gets one, he swings round, he gets the heaven rappel coming in as well, and it's just round over. So despite DarkZero having a look at piano, then moving across, adapting and rotating, Falcons were just ready for whatever was thrown at them. 3-1 now, and they're starting to create a little bit of space between them and DarkZero.
Well, of course they were ready because there was no pressure. They were just pretty much getting bored waiting for the push from DarkZero. When it eventually did come, it was rather lackluster and it was just solo push by solo push. Falcons then have the numbers and play off each other as teammates on site. Questions being asked of DarkZero right now. Do they have the answers I think they need at least one more attacking round, Tim. I don't think 5-1 half, despite even the maybe shortcomings of Falcons attacking into this map. 5-1's quite a deficit to find yourselves at the end of a half where you're already 1-0 down in the map. That is an aggressive jump out by Hashom, punished pretty comfortably by what is 3 players all stacked together for DZ, and Guards is maybe hoping that one of them slips up a little bit and repels too close to the window. Nitrocell in hand, thrown and misses, and this is a little win for DarkZero. Little micro plays that go their way in this moment, in this round. Now it's all about capitalization for DZ. You're up a player, you've avoided the one and only Nitrocell that is in the server for Falcons. These are the rounds in which you need to punish your opposition when they make these mistakes.
If DarkZero can come away with a 3-3 half here, I think it's a little bit of a steal, to be honest, because Falcons have been in control. There's no two ways about that. They've got the book this time, DarkZero, so if they get themselves in above, they can work those verticals, but at the minute, they're down there on that bottom floor. Whether they're going to try to push up brown stairs, we will see as we continue here, but for the time being at least, the first half of the round has ticked by, and other than that opening kill, which was punishing a jump out, DarkZero haven't yet disrupted anything that Falcons want to do inside of the map.
I know I obsess over this stat when it comes to the entry kills, but we're at a point now where it's quite unique. There has still not been a single round where the team that gets the opening kill then goes on and loses it. Could it happen here, though, with a quick double by Falcons? Robbie then gets rid of Naif, which then keeps the advantage for Falcons, and with the shotgun from Jalad, they will turn this round around. Falcons, for the first time in this series, a team that didn't get the opening kill steals the round away, and that feels oh so brutal for DarkZero, who need to find a second round and now only have one opportunity.
Well, you speak about micro wins, these small moments through the round that could add up for DarkZero. And we could say the same thing. It's a micro win for Falcons. They get the round by overturning the entry, which again is another blow to the mental of DarkZero, because now they come into rounds and maybe think, oh, we've got the opener, but there's nothing guaranteed because we've just lost the last round, even though we got that start, even though we took Hashom down, even though we avoided that nitro. We did so well at the beginning of the round. The problem for DarkZero there was getting in the map. Yeah, it was great getting the opener. Yeah, it was great avoiding the nitro. But again, much like the round before, they just kind of looked like they didn't really have any ideas of how to get in and take control. But they never really heading towards the defaults. And so it makes me wonder, like, DarkZero, what are you
doing?
Is it not worth trying to get piano control and work from there? There's a reason that teams do that so often. But instead, they're just sitting on the windows. They're trying to rappel in. They're trying to walk in through the ground floor and work upwards. And it's just not really working. And I think sometimes you've got to take it back to basics.
Tim, this is DarkZero, though. Notorious for giving their fans poor old little heart attacks. Opening kill for Naif onto Guards. Question mark as well from Naif. These are the turning points in a lot of maps for DarkZero when they bring things back and their fans have lost all hope and they go on Reddit, and then all of a sudden DZ just go bang, 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 and they bring it back, and then you're left questioning that this team is once again ultra inconsistent. Well, now, while they've been a little bit poor on Cafe attack, if they turn things around, get this round, go on defense, still every chance that they can bring this map back and salvage this series.
Not including the kill that Nerf just got. If we take that off, they've got 10 kills in 5 rounds. That's an average of 2 kills per round from DarkZero. It's not enough.
And yet, they still have a chance to go 2-4. 2 attacking rounds, it's more than fine.
Honestly, if they get away with 2-4, it is daylight robbery.
Yep. Robbie on the scope horse as well. Hashom up close over towards Prep. There is Robbie over towards Brown Stairs.
The other shell is inside of sight. We just saw the silhouette for it there. It is inside a kitchen, I think being used more as a bulletproof camera, but also an option for Robbie to be able to get back to sight quickly. We see this from the Scorpos quite often. They're used out on the roam. You can get out there as far as you want. You don't have to worry about getting back to sight if you get cut off or anything like that. You just teleport back into your other shell and it gets you safely back. Now then, Doverkin's really trying to hold on to Bakery hard here. DarkZero once again struggling to get into the building, and Dovey manages to get him through the smoke, and it's a glass! DarkZero, what is going wrong?
There's no world in which you lose another round where you've started oh so well. Finally, they're able to overwhelm inside a Bakery, but Naif goes down, and with that, it's now the 3-on-1. What is going on? DarkZero are capitulating!
What is this, guys? What is this? Floating, I swear, floating, wallah. Let's go, boy.
I think is Dovahkiin made of Kevlar or something? Bullets just don't seem to land on him. He was in bakery for the longest time. He had challengers coming in from both sides. He killed a glass that was stood inside of smoke.
And don't forget, there's no more timeouts. Kenny took it early after 3 rounds had only been played, so they don't have that little circuit breaker that can maybe take some of this momentum away from Falcons. The only world in which they can do that now is start well, defense on Cafe, try and bring things back, but they're 5-1 down on the second map. They could be facing elimination 2 rounds away from eliminating DarkZero.
I am very concerned that DarkZero have just checked out.
Yeah,
they've just mentally...
It could be the case.
They've just... They can't get past this hurdle. But let me give a glimmer of hope to the NA fans. Let me give you a glimmer of hope. Falcons, I'll repeat it again, played BDS on Cafe. They didn't get a single successful attack. It was 6-0 for BDS. They overturned that kind of stat earlier against W7M. I accept that. Falcons are playing very well today. I accept that. They have definitely got some work to do on the attack. We will see how they do in the first couple of rounds. For me, I think they need to be measured about their approach here. They need to make sure that they're not getting carried away, drawn into aggression and rushes. And Falcons need to go through this step by step, take the map control, much like I was saying DarkZero weren't doing. Just default. Get in, get your piano control, move across, take top floor, work from there.
I should add, by the way, DarkZero have double defense OT if it does come to that nature where they do get 5 defensively. And maybe only the 1 attacking round for Falcons. I'll tell you what, though, this round just feels absolutely important for DarkZero. You cannot go 6-1 down. You absolutely cannot find yourself already in a position where you have to then win 5 in a row, otherwise you are straight up eliminated. Kobe over towards Lounge does have yellow ping on the rappel, which was Hashom. He's made his way up to the roof. Slow and steady approach for Falcons.
For a reading site, Kobe is really advanced here. He's over in piano. Normally, you'd see players kind of playing around maybe pixel spot, ready to drop back towards Timber. He's really advanced here, and it just says that DarkZero are looking to hold on to the entirety of the top floor. They are definitely aware of Falcons of his position here. They've just seen the Nitro thrown out. The Blitz of Guards is going to take some damage. They need to deal with the player in piano. They're not going to do it as Nath has got the cover. Robbie and Guards taken down. Perfect start for DarkZero.
That's what they need. It needs to be the confidence builder where you start to win these rounds comfortably, get a couple on the board and in a row. Nice kill as well from Kobe to shut down Hashom. No more Dockerby available, and you've got a significant advantage here in the 7th round. Up 3, 5v2. Surely JLad and Dov could not pull off something such as this. It may as well then be the circuit breaker to say goodbye to DZ, but Kobe makes sure there are no heroic moments here by the dynamic duo of Falcons, of which now JLad only alive for Falcons in a 1 versus 5 with 50 seconds remaining. It does feel like it's the first bullet avoided for DZ. They will get a second round and they can start to slowly bring things back.
It's been a great defense from DarkZero to kick things off, and what better round to win than round 7? If you're going to try to turn something around, round 7 is always a great one to win because it says to your team, what's done is done. The attack was the attack, it's gone, we're on the defense, and we can start winning rounds. We've just won this one, so it just sends a great message. I think it's a great repairer of that mental. NJR steps up onto White with the shotgun, close range, picks his engagement perfectly well, and that's going to close out the round for DarkZero. They looked so much more comfortable there on the defense than they did on the attack. I commented that at times on the attack, they looked a little bit lost, unable to get into the building, unable to get any real map control, whereas this time they had control over every angle. They just lured Falcons on in, they took down that blitz without a problem, and from there Falcons were just a little bit lost. There you go, beautiful flank from Nath. He just knows that there's a lot of focus towards Kobe in piano there. They've been unable to deal with him, but they focused in that direction because they know that Kobe could pop up and just do some damage from double door, and Nath took full advantage of that. Great stuff.
And again, if there's any team that you want to use the example of that inconsistent nature, it's always going to be DarkZero. This is what they do best. They put themselves in a bit of a hole.
Fight from behind.
But then fight from behind and get themselves back in, and then their fans are just left bewildered as to why this team team plays the way that they do. This is why we're certainly by no means counting them out from this series, let alone this map. You're on Defense Cafe, primed opportunities to be able to get on a bit of a roll, string some rounds together, and put the pressure back onto Falcons. There's one, you find the next one, and suddenly things look a little bit better. It's then 3-5. So you just got to take it one round at a time. If you're DarkZero, you know you have the capabilities, you know you have the players. You know you even have the strategy. It's just about the implementation for them moving forward. The only caveat to all of it is they cannot really put a foot wrong. You can't have like this one bad round, okay, then we can make up for it, because you don't have the buffer by playing better in that first half. Falcons 1 round away from at least securing OT and making it a much longer distance back for DarkZero. So you've got to be perfect here on out. But we've mentioned time and time again, for Falcons, attack can be a bit of an issue for them on this map.
Interestingly, DarkZero have not won a game that hasn't been 2-1, and they haven't won the first map yet. So again, maybe that's a little omen for the DarkZero fans.
I don't know, I feel like we're just following the DarkZero script that's laid out for us.
They haven't yet won a first map. In the group phase against M80, any of the games that they won, they lost the first map and came back from there. So this, as we know, is well within their wheelhouse. Just going to dump a nade onto the window ledge there. That's going to allow them to open up the castle barricade in towards top red. This is a little bit more standard, a little bit more textbook from Falcons, but can they be punished? They've brought along the gridlock this time because they're concerned about the flank that they were hit by last time. Naif managing to get a double. They start progressing forward from top red. They're looking to get themselves into Cigar. Amber, he knows it's time to just drop a little bit deeper here. You can see the silhouettes of DarkZero ahead there, just dropping back towards Cocktail, dropping the hatch as well, getting themselves out of trouble. There's still a few left up there, but they have now all dropped away. So Falcons can take this top floor if they want it.
And one thing that DarkZero have started to do better in the last couple of rounds is finding these opening picks, 3 in a row for them. Of course, you've got to be able to convert 2 of which they didn't, but it is still a positive sign that they're beginning these rounds a little bit better. But we're into the final 50 seconds, and to be fair, the onus is on Falcons to pick up that pace down. Finally, you've got top floor control, but you've still got to second floor. You've still got a lot of DarkZero members that are unaccounted for. You've got a Vigil, you've got Naif all the way over towards Bar. So it's not just a case of just go into sight. Because you've got top floor, you're still at risk of potential flanks that could make their way up, either white stairs or red stairs. 30 seconds is not a lot of time, Tim.
It's not, but they do have some space to work with here inside of mining. If they want to go in there and put the diffuser down, they have been able to force them away. They find Bolo, take him down, but he manages to get the blitz. Again, Falcon struggling to get the most out of that shield, but 15 seconds, they're not even inside of sight yet. Jalad, he's trying to get towards anywhere that he can plant here, and the kills come in. And again, Falcons are just rescuing themselves with kills. They're going to find themselves 6 up. This is getting dangerous for DarkZero.
Oh my God. Just chaos around the sites. I mean, it was a reading site push despite the fact it wasn't even the reading site. You saw them scrambling to just try and get into Fireplace to just stick the plant down with 5 seconds left. They were scrambling, Tim. This was not the way that Falcons wanted to attack the site, and DarkZero still couldn't stop them.
I'm looking at the setup and I'm thinking you've got NJR sort of sat in and around Fireplace. You've got Naif kind of running in towards 90 from Pillar. I'm thinking if you can just push those back a little bit deeper, you can create the space you need to put the diffuser down in mining. But they're busy fighting with Vigil in reading, and I'm thinking, you're playing right into DarkZero's defense here. They're all stacked up inside of dining. They're all stacked up towards white. You're just going to have to go through and get kills. But as I say, they thrive in the eye of the storm. They just go through the chaos, get all the kills, and put themselves onto series point.
There was a brief moment, and we got to see it from Bolo's POV, where he wasn't able to kill guard straight away, which would have then given him an opportunity to then switch over to the second player coming in towards reading by just missing those shots and a quick reflex from guards to get that shield up. Yes, he still died, but they get the kill onto Bolo, and then that second player can push forward. They've got extra numbers then pushing into the side, but it just comes down to an issue that I said on Border, which is the fact that DZ just simply are not winning their gunfights. I don't know how NJR took that that damage so early into the round, but fortunately he is playing the Doc. It might have been a spawn peek attempt over towards Bakery. Alas, doesn't really matter too much, but the fact of the matter is, DarkZero are 4 match and series points down to Falcons. They have to now win 4 rounds in a row to force overtime. Otherwise, DarkZero will be out of the Six Invitational if they lose any of these next 4 rounds.
We've got Nath on the clash. Going to keep an eye on his location. He was out towards Bakery. We've seen him just moving around a little bit. He's kind of just popped himself in the middle of sight so he can respond to wherever the pressure comes from Falcons. For the time being, Falcons haven't got themselves really inside of the map yet. They've got the Ram, so I would expect them to be looking to get that mid-floor control, to get the verticals and to push DarkZero out of sight. We talk about this over and over. The reason you get the verticals, if you can get a kill or 2, it's nice. But really what you wanted to do is disrupt that defense, force them out of the site so that you can go in there and take a little bit of control. They start the work, 1:35 left on the clock, plenty of time. They're ahead of the curve right now.
Yeah, I'd say just on that precipice in terms of the time factor for Falcons are putting pressure down below. We got Nath on the clash over towards Server, so he's going to have to move around and make sure he puts himself in the best position possible to really alleviate that pressure from Falcons. Pambazu's already used 1 gas canister as well, and they've just lost Kobe as Gillette gets the opening pick for Falcons, and it's putting DarkZero now in a world of hurt, and the push comes from Guards through the gas bay, but he can't win the battle, loses his life. Nicely done from Pambazu.
That is so important from Pamba. He's dropped the case at his feet. DarkZero have got everything they need to win this round realistically. They need to be careful of Jalad outside. He's already punished them once. Make that twice. Right now, Pamba is in such an important position. He's going to be forced away because of the track coming in. He doesn't want to give his life up to that position. They're able to recover the diffuser. There's 30 seconds left, Jake.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time and not a lot of opportunities or chances. The SMG-11 has to now be the weapon of choice. Spot, headshot, hash-off. Pambazu with a double kill. Might just keep this round alive for DZ as Nath is still there on the clash. 17 seconds. Can he be the nuisance to help DZ bring it back? Indeed, he can! And suddenly it becomes incredibly winnable for DZ. Just when it felt like they were on the brink of elimination, DarkZero will hold strong and live to fight for 1 more round at the very least. Huge round from Nath and from Pambazu.
هادين تكفون.
But it gets the heart racing, doesn't it, Tim, if you're a DZ fan? Heart in mouth sort of stuff.
If you know a DZ fan, go and check on them. Just make sure they're okay, because right now they must be on the edge. They were what looked like 30 seconds away from being out of the Six Invitational, and then Pamba said, you know what, it might not quite be party time just yet, but I'm going to get this one over the line for us. I'm going to keep us fighting. He dropped the diffuser inside a restaurant, but what's more important, what was more important than that, was that Pamba recognized when it was time to give up that.
Well, he started it as well. He could have died to the blitz. He could have been overwhelmed in VIP, but he stays alive, wins that battle, rotates, pivots, gets a couple more kills, and suddenly DZ get back in. If there's ever going to be a platform you can build off, it's that round. That's where you can get some confidence back.
It is such a big call from Pamba to say, I'm going to give them the diffuser back. It would have been easy for any player to get tunnel visioned and say, I'm playing the case, I'm playing the case. But he knew that he was going to be pushed from multiple sides. He was tracked by the Deimos, and he made the smart choice to get himself out of there, to relocate, and to live to fight another day. And sometimes in Siege, that's just what you've got to do. You've got to give a little to get a lot more. And Pamba played it beautifully. DarkZero, 3-6. They continue fighting back. But for Falcons, the dream is still very much alive. That dream matchup against either Virtus Pro or FaZe, the winner of which will go through to the live stage as Falcons edge closer and closer.
DarkZero, though, we know, are not going to go down without a fight as per that previous round. But again, they cannot find themselves in those kind of rounds 2 more times, because Falcons, you know, at some point will be able to win a round such as that, where it's a bit scrappy and it's a 1vx or a 2vx. You want to win these rounds cleanly. You want to continue to keep getting these opening kills. That didn't happen in the previous round. They lost Kobe Lax. Well, it doesn't happen in this round. Now they lose Bolo. It's 2 rounds in a row that Jalad has found the opening pick for Falcons as they continue to try and unlock this defense and secure this series for themselves.
I was just going to say Nath and Bolo needed to be careful. Jalad had got himself onto that heaven window and he was just watching a crossbar. And I thought if Nath strays too close to the doorway or Bolo, he was playing underneath square skylight, he was going to get himself hurt, and he did. Pamba, though, once again steps up for his team, manages to take down Robbie. That's the Deimos gone. What a big pickup. We saw them using the Deimos late in the round last time to try and bully Pamba. That won't be the case. The tracks have been taken away.
Only 4 drones remaining for Falcons, but they may not need them. Double kill! Nitrocell at the right time, at the right moment, just while Falcons had the player advantage. It's now gone, it's now reversed, and a swing from Pambazoo, and DarkZero might have just discovered and rediscovered their mojo that we know is within them, that we don't always get to see. And Kenny's bringing that energy back, and so are DarkZero. 2 more rounds, Tim. 2 more to force OT.
They are halfway through what could be an epic journey of redemption here for DarkZero. It was a tough start for them. They found themselves 6-2 down, but they've clawed it back to 6-4. The concern for all DarkZero fans out there will be that there is a round somewhere for Falcons to find. This is beautiful kill from Jalad to open things up. Could barely see the top of Bolo's head, but knew that he was there. The big concern for DarkZero now is you've been through your favorite sites. You've been through the first 2. Can you get the win somewhere else?
The bigger concern, though, is Falcons and their ability to close out maps at international events. I bring your minds back to the Montreal Major in the quarterfinal, where they had an opportunity, 2 opportunities, Tim, to beat Virtus Pro up 6-4. First map, lose, up 6-4. Second map, lose. You ultimately lose that series, and you do not make top 4. You are up 6-4 against DZ. Will it be lose again, or can Falcons stop what feels like the DarkZero tsunami that is looking to encapsulate these Falcons? If DarkZero get this to overtime, they have double defense OT. That puts them back in the driver's seat. That puts them back into a commanding position. Falcons have still got 2 more chances. That's a lot of pressure. DarkZero are exerting a lot of energy right now to not make mistakes and to bring this comeback into reality. And for Falcons, 2 rounds in a row, Jalad has found these opening picks to really set them off as best possible heading into the round. And twice in a row, they have not been able to capitalize.
DarkZero have had to go up to the top floor now, having won both reading room and kitchen sites that they obviously preferred.
Haven't attempted this yet.
We haven't seen them on top floor yet. So we also don't know exactly what Falcons' attack is going to be. They're all on the rooftop at the minute. Just having a look around, just getting the drones out there, shaping up. It looks towards the east side at the minute. Jalad is working that heaven window again. We saw him get the opener onto Bolo last time around. But Nath, he's played himself down white stairs a little bit here. Hasham needs to be careful. There could be a coming together there as well.
Or maybe Nath needs to be careful. Hasham, the one lurking, reading Robbie, opening pick, and shuts down a player who's been very influential for DarkZero. Pambazoo has to sit this one out, and so does Bolo. And now they really find themselves in a world of hurt because the plant is going down as well. Big nitro from Nate, but it's not going to be enough to salvage this one. NJR by himself in Freezer with it all to do in a 1 versus 4 post play. The GGs are coming out. Chad Falcons have dispatched DarkZero. They've sent them home. Luckily, the airport's not too far away for DZ. And for Falcons, they move forward in the lower bracket.
What a performance from Falcons there, winning in 2. Absolutely phenomenal stuff at times. They always seem to have an answer. They always seem to find a way when it got difficult. DarkZero just looked out of their depth, and maybe DarkZero have just skirted with danger a few too many times. There's been a few too many comebacks required of them, and eventually it's caught up with them. Falcons go through.
Oh, who will they play? We
stuff.
don't know yet, Tim. That match is, of course, happening on the B stream, who they will be playing next up. But silence, says Falcons. For DarkZero, their time at the Six Invitational is over.